All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here, Mark P. Markets. Thank you for joining me for another U.S. market open price action analysis session. In this session, if you're new, we're going to be going over the major markets. Now, I'm looking to add also more of like trade ideas to this, like basically some ideas to look at throughout the day that may turn into potential trades, right? I don't have that baked into here yet, but that's what I'm working on, just so you know, because I know this is boring to most people, and a lot of people, oh, I don't trade the euro, so who cares? Well, anyway, so I want to put more value into the stream. That's what's coming. But right now, I'm going to be going over the major markets like Bitcoin, bonds. We're going to take a look at the S&P, euro, all those things. Okay, you have that British pound trade. We're going to talk about all those things, so you can get an idea. The whole point of this stream is for you to get a reasonable idea of what to anticipate for today and also over the next few days. By the way, I will be on TradingView today at 3 o'clock as well, so you guys get to see me twice. All right, anyway, so with that, let's get started. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, let me take this slide off my screen here and we can get back to my charts. Okay, hold on a second. There we go. You guys should be able to see me. Everyone, good to see you all today on Monday. All right. So real quick, before I get started with the first chart, I just want to mention I am sponsored by 8Cap Partners. They are an Australian-based Forex and CFD broker. All right. If you are a non-US resident, you can open an account with them. If you're looking for a Forex CFD broker, they also trade Bitcoin and quite a few altcoins. So you can do all that on their platform using MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5. You can also trade through the TradingView integration. So there's some nice choices right there. They also have some nice spread. They have like a raw spread plan. They also have your standard spreads. So there may be something there for you as well. Now, again, this is for non-US residents. Also, if you open an account with 8Cap and you deposit $500 and you trade one standard lot, you can get my training program for free. Okay, so I just want to mention that. But again, you have to be non-US and you can't be from a sanctioned country like Russia. They're not going to open your account. Okay. Also, if you're interested in my training program, check it out. You can find the links in the description portion of this video. All right, markpmarkets.com. You can go to my website. You can see my training program if that's something you're interested in. You learn how I evaluate these markets in an objective way and how I pull out useful pieces of information from the chart, not nonsense. Also, you can check out my Discord community. I have a chat community. It's free right now. I'm going to put a paywall up soon. So go in. The link is in the description as well. Go there, sign up, join my community. And as a free member, you can't type stuff in, but you can see what's going on in all the premium rooms. Okay, so make sure you check that out. I have the free thing turned off because I don't want spam and all that other kind of garbage that comes along when you let free people into the server. So when you're a paying member, then you have all those permissions. Anyway, all right, enough of that. Let's talk about charts, shall we? So first things first, let's get into Bitcoin. All right, and let me say hello to a few people here. I see Bill, of course, good to see you. I see Luna. All right, Jeff. Okay, cool. Hey, go forth. How are you? All right, Michael. Hey, good to see you. Eligius. All right. Hey, everyone. Here we go again. Also, a chance to see Mark, the glorious, pale, bald, and handsome. Pale, bald, and then handsome. I don't know. They just don't go together. Pale, bald, maybe tan, bald, but I'm not tan. I am pale. So it's an honest review, but I don't know about handsome. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, I'd like to hear that from a woman. So let's talk about Bitcoin. All right. It's too early for these jokes. Now, here's the thing. I put out a trade idea, all right, on Bitcoin. I put the idea out. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember exactly when I put that idea out. It took a couple of days and then the trade went into play. Okay. The trade went into effect on this candle right here. Okay. The entry was 18,850. I believe. Now, keep in mind, I don't short Bitcoin. Okay, I forgot to mention that in the idea. I believe I don't short Bitcoin myself. All right, but if people are interested in the idea, I put the idea out there. Also, I mentioned in this idea that the risk of this was not the ideal level. I did mention that specifically, that this was not the ideal level. and that, you may have to sit through something like this or possibly take an early exit. Now, here's the thing. When I saw the rally on Friday, right, the pound almost stopped out. Okay, we're going to talk about that stupid pound trade in a moment, but this is a conflicting signal. All right, bullish pin bar. And I always talk about, well, if you see the conflicting signal, you should probably get out. Okay, and I thought about it, but then I saw that, the way the market rallied on Friday, and again, I don't care why, because it doesn't matter. Bear market rallies are, they are highly irrational, and they're very dramatic, and they're usually emotionally driven. There's a lot of emotion that surrounds them, a lot of nonsense talk, okay, and blah, blah, blah. I saw Bitcoin basically not really doing a whole lot relative to things like the S&P and Nasdaq, which had very spectacular days, right? Also, none of that, no matter what anyone says, please, I hope by now, those of you that follow me, I hope you realize that the news and all that stuff, I hope you realize it's nothing more than entertainment, and it has no actionable value. I hope you understand that, okay? Because people like watching the news because they think they're being informed. It's all an illusion. You're not being informed. It's complete nonsense, okay? It's not going to help you in this game, right? That's the point. So my point is this. I saw this rally, whatever. I saw Bitcoin wasn't really doing a whole lot relatively. So I'm like, the bigger picture hasn't changed. So the right thing to do here would be to give the bigger picture a chance. And right now we have the new sell signal developing. Okay, so that's why I'm glad I never sent out an exit signal, because if we're going to give a chance to any type of trade, this should be the one you give a chance to, even though there was a conflicting signal. You have to look at the context. Now, if you're extremely conservative and you're like, well, I don't like the conflicting signal, okay, no problem. Get out, take a couple of 100-point loss. All right, even now you can get out and take a few 100-point loss. I mean, what is this thing at 19,375? So what is that, like a 600, 500-point loss or whatever on Bitcoin? I mean, that's better than a 2,000-point loss. You can do that. You have that choice right now, okay? But look what's going on here. If this thing closes like this and takes out the low, we will have a new sell signal. All right. Now, what's that sell signal? The low of this thing is 19,250. So for those of you that maybe you never took that swing trade in the first place, well, a new one is developing. Right. That's one of the points of these streams, looking for setups that are developing. If this thing closes like this and takes out this current low, this pin bar low, then you have a new swing trade sell signal, which will basically have the same stop loss and profit target as my original idea, which I'm not going to mention here, okay? You guys can go to the chat, you can go look in the signal channel, and you'll see all the information there. Okay, so this is not a heavy resistance, it's a minor resistance, but it's still being respected. Bitcoin is relatively weak. That is the point that I made in my TradingView article yesterday, which I don't think not too many people read. Not too many people like my TradingView articles. In fact, I'm not even sure why I still write them. All the fake gurus that I follow quite a few of them, right? The big ones. And I follow them for their marketing prowess. That's why I follow them, because they're expert marketers. And none of them produce articles on TradingView. They don't do anything with TradingView. They just use their charts, and maybe they'll mention them here and there. But those are the bigger and more successful fake gurus. I'm like, none of them are on TradingView. That must mean something. Anyway, so the point is this. This thing is poised to sell off. If it breaks these supports, probability favors break of support. I don't care how optimistic you are. If you're, Captain Optimistic, you're only fooling yourself. We have a lower high over here. 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 Lower highs often lead to lower lows. Bitcoin is relatively weak. That was the point of my article. So if S&P pulls back, if there's some kind of catalyst that knocks the wind out of the stock market, this thing is vulnerable and poised to break the 18K support. That's what the chart says. That's not my personal opinion. That's based on the price action and price structure of the chart. If the chart changes and we start breaking resistance levels, then I change my outlook. Does that make sense? So I let the market speak and I follow. The market always knows more than me. I know nothing. That is the way I come into the market each day. All right, so that's Bitcoin on this time frame. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that. You're one of the few voices of reality in a world of noise. Jeff, I appreciate you say that. I'm actually going to show that to everyone. Look, Jeff says you're one of the only few voices of reality in a world of noise. World of noise. That's a nice way to describe it, because most of the nonsense out there is worthless information. It's garbage, especially if it's for free on the internet, on YouTube, on Twitter. It's nonsense, and you're only being led by blind people. Okay. There are a lot of us who really appreciate your articles, believe it or not, but you are changed. I appreciate that, Alex, at least helping us avoid. That's one of the main value propositions of why I do what I do. Okay, this is what Alex says. One of my Romanians over here, one of the few Romanians left. The thing is, if I can help you minimize your mistakes, okay, and learn how to focus on risk and basically protect your capital, which is what you should be doing. You are all an opportunity for the industry. That is all you are. Okay. If I can help you realize that and protect your capital, you will be better off, because when you have winning trades, you will retain more of that win. And when you lose, you will lose less. That is the idea. You're going to lose. But the thing is, you need to recognize what your obstacles are, how to manage your risk, and how to evaluate risk, and how to determine if that risk is right for you or not. Okay. Just because an opportunity appears doesn't mean the risk is a good fit for you. It may not be. I see trades like that all the time. Like, oh yeah, there's a trade idea, but look at the risk. I'm not taking that trade. And the trade happens to work out, but the risk was too big. Okay. And if it's too big, if I'm wrong, I'm going to be wrong. If I'm wrong, why would I want to be caught in that? Okay. I'm not going to be happy if I'm caught in that. So I have an opportunity to avoid it. That's what I hope to really, teach you guys. All right. Anyway, so that's Bitcoin. Let's jump into here. Let's look at the smaller time frame. Like the stream if you are watching. Oh, cool, Guy. Thanks. Yeah, I try to watch this chat at the same time. I talk too much, and I'm trying to keep this stream coherent here. Anyway, but one of the main points I wanted to make was, don't be fooled by nonsense. Don't ever be fooled by what people say. Focus on the price action. People criticize me. I get criticized sometimes because people think I'm one of these guys that say, well, the market's going to go higher or lower. Of course we know that. Okay. That's a reality that we always must deal with, right? The market is random. So we're trying to gauge risk, and we're trying to see how we can stack probabilities more in our favor, or at least align ourselves with the probabilities of what the price structure presents. They can change, but we always want to try to be on the right side of those probabilities the best we can. All right. But there's no perfect way to do this, especially at the retail level. All right, let's move along here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here on the, let's look at the hourly chart. Okay. And I'm showing you this time frame. Again, this is for people that are interested in day trades, right? Maybe you're on BitMEX, maybe you're on, you're using Binance futures or whatever it is. But this is where, this is what you should be looking at. And that's why I'm pointing this out. As we can see here, this large rectangle up here is part of the daily chart, right? And we see the resistance rejection off of there. Okay, fine. We got that from the bigger picture. But what's going on here on the smaller picture? And how can this affect your intraday decisions? Well, clearly we have a lower high right here. Okay. So while this originally, if you're looking back and you're saying, well, this is a bullish structure. Okay. It broke this resistance over here. All right. This resistance, nice break, and it retested, right? Okay. That's normal. Buying signal developed, and that was worth a day trade. Okay. Of course, we're looking at this after the fact. Okay. Nice. But if you're foolish and you hold on to this thinking, oh, it's going to go all the way to the new high because I'm in it. No, you take a small bite out of this, because now look, okay, this is random. You can't look at this and say, well, it's going to go up here based on that. You can't do that because markets are random. There's no way to know if it's going to make it back up there or not, especially intraday. So instead, you adjust when you see the failure. Okay, this red outside bar appears on the hourly. All right, so that means now that there's a lower high, that low is taken out. There is bearish price action. There's bearish momentum in this thing at the moment intraday. So that's what the price action says. You have levels on this chart to work with. So here, as an intraday trader, I'm going to tell you what to look for. First, you want to see how this current candle closes. You have, what is it, about 8 minutes, 7 minutes or something like that before this candle closes. Look, it's turning into a pin bar as I speak. Okay, but it's still open. This thing can close on its low. All right. Now, the level where you'd like to look for buy signals would be the support area. If it can get there again, it almost got there, as you can see, right? The support range, it almost got there and it rejected. Okay. But this would be the ideal location, which is what, 19,250 area? This is your ideal location. You may not get that if this thing produces the pin bar and higher low and starts to rally. Okay. So you want to see the bullish reversal around this area, and then that can signal start looking for longs on the smaller time frames. This is an hourly. You would go to a 15-minute or 5-minute and look for continuation patterns. Again, on the day trade time frame, you're only looking for 100 points, maybe 150 points. That's probably being very optimistic. You're not looking for 500 points or 1,000 points. You're full of greed, and you're asking for a lot of trouble if you do that. Some people, they can't control themselves, and that's what they think, and they start thinking in absolutes. You'll never win that way. I'm just telling you right now. You'll win occasionally, but occasional doesn't pay the bills. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, if this closes as a bullish pin bar, as it's trying to, and it takes out the high of that bullish pin bar, then you'll have a buy signal earlier. Okay, do you just jump in? Well, you can, but you're taking pretty large risk here, right? I mean, the low of this thing is 291. The highest, that's 100 points. Okay, if you buy the top of this pin bar, I mean, if you're looking to make 100 points, 100 points of risk is within reason, but you can refine that further if you look at a smaller time frame, like a 15-minute. Okay, I'm not going to get into that here, but if this turns into a buy signal, you're targeting this area up here. All right, that's pretty straightforward. 19,450 area. This basically coincides with like the 19.5. What's this high over here? 19.6. So basically, this zone becomes your resistance zone. All right. And that's a place for new potential shorts if you get a signal there. It's also a place to take profits for your longs if you have an intraday long off of this signal that's trying to develop right now. Does that make sense to you guys? So that's your intraday outlook for Bitcoin. It's either it pushes here and reverses. Now, keep in mind, it may push the support and break, okay, and then work its way into this area over here. That's also another area. I'm just focused on the closest areas that are in play. When an area breaks, you have to look to the next area. Does that make sense? All right, so let's move along here. Otherwise, I'll be talking about this for hours. And I will be on today on TradingView at 3 o'clock, and I'll be streaming on here again as well. So I'm spending a lot of time on YouTube and on TradingView. TradingView, I'll tell you, I'm not very happy with TradingView because I don't get, for the time that I put into it and the restrictions that they put on me, I don't know. It's really, I'm starting to recognize that it's worth less and less of my effort. Anyway, like all the other fake gurus who don't do anything with TradingView. All right, I'm not a fake guru, but I'm just saying I'm a bad marketer, and good marketers are not on there. All right, anyway, let's move along. Let's take a look at the bond market. So someone in here says that the bond market's selling off on the hourly. Let's take a look. So, all right, here's the 10-year note futures. You guys, as you know, people that follow me, you should know you should check this every day, okay? Even if there's nothing going on in it, you should check it because you need to be aware of where this thing is. If a market bottom is going to develop, it's going to develop here first. And when I'm talking about a bottom, I'm not talking about one candle, okay? It will take a couple of months. And by the time the bottom is confirmed, the price will most likely be way off the bottom. So don't think that when a bottom is present, oh, I'm going to wait until it tests the bottom again. If that's truly the bottom, there's a good chance it's not going to be tested again. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You're better off being on the right side of the structure than you are trying to catch a bottom or a top. It's a very expensive process doing something like that. Anyway, so let's take a look. What's going on here, right? What is going on here with the bonds? This is, you mentioned the hourly, but bonds, you should not be looking at them intraday unless you're trying to day trade them. There's no point in looking at them intraday. You have this reversal, right? This was Friday, And now look, today it's trying to give us the bearish pin bar. Now we still have a number of hours before this candle closes. This candle may close on its high, who knows, right? But right now it doesn't look so good. It doesn't look bullish. If the candle closes like this and takes out the low, then over the next few days, we're looking at lower lows in the bonds, all right? If the bonds continue to push their lows, nothing has changed, nothing. What that means is any rally that you see in the S&P or in the Nasdaq or anywhere else is limited. It's a bear market rally. And anyone, you know what I want you guys to do? Next time you see like a bear market rally and you see everyone getting excited and you see all your favorite Twitter guys and all these other big mouths, I want you to get a notebook. I want you to take notes on who says what. Okay. Oh, Bitcoin's going to 50K. Oh, S&P's turned around. S&P's going back to 4,000. I want you to take notes. Okay. And then in a few weeks, I want you to revisit those notes. And it's really an eye-opening thing because this guy said this guy said that, and the market completely just never went that way. Why were they saying these things at that time? What were they seeing, and how come they were so wrong? They're wrong because markets are random and you cannot make those type of evaluations or those type of analyses of whatever you want to call it. It's not reasonable, okay? But they make them for attention so that people listen to them and they buy their products or click on their affiliate links, right? Understand how this industry works. So I want you to see that because I never tell people stuff like that. And no one listens to me anyway, but I never tell people stuff like that, all right? Because there's no way to know. All I know is this trend is intact and it's likely to make the lower low. If the trend changes, I will note that. And if the trend continues to, the new trend maintains itself, I will note that as well. All I know is in the stock market and everywhere else, it's all dependent on this, okay? And as long as this continues, this ugly, I'm being biased here. I shouldn't call it ugly. It's just bearish, okay? If this continues its bearish trend, then we can't expect bullishness anywhere else, okay? And there's economic reasons for that. All right, so that's the bond market. Nothing has changed here. Now, let me mention QNT because I put it in the title, right? I want to point something out here. Someone came to my stream the other day and asked me about QMT and, Quant USD, whatever, QNT. And because it was bullish and it was completely ignoring all the bearishness in Bitcoin, right? Very nice looking chart, okay, on this time frame. Now, I want you to notice something. If you were foolish and you bought it when it looked its best, look what you're in now. This doesn't look so great anymore, does it? Right? We have a lower high situation after the sell-off, right? After the bearish pin bar, sell signal, lower high is now in play, lower high. Okay, now, so here's the thing. This is generally a nice bullish looking structure going back some time here, right? Except for this new price action. What do we do with something like this? Is this thing still worth keeping on the radar? I think so, because you have a support in this area right here. Look at the bullish pin bar. All right, again, this may be good for a swing trade. Not at the moment. Let it test the support, see what you get. But here's some other perspective you need to keep in mind, because right now there is bearish momentum in this thing. Yes, you have a higher low. The general trend you can still argue in the short-term trend we can argue is still bullish. We have higher lows, okay? The low hasn't been taken out yet. If this low gets taken out, then things begin to change, okay? But until then, we can still look at this as a potential swing trade long, not an investment, a swing trade long, which is only good for maybe a few days, few weeks, that kind of thing. This is not like a yearly hold. Now, let me point something out here. The weekly chart, okay? You should look at this. So on the bigger picture, this thing tells us another story. All right, came off of this resistance, no surprise there. Weekly bearish pin bar. That candle is closed, and we're fooling around near the low of it. We take out that low, we will have a weekly sell signal, which in that case, you should probably stay away from it. So keep that in mind. We all want to pile into the long side, but this thing may, if this momentum follows through, this thing can get hammered, especially in light of an environment that is not supportive of this. So this could just be a bear market rally. And, they get these things going on hype or some other nonsense. Everyone piles in, and then it just goes away. it just gives up, right? Because the environment was never supportive to begin with. Keep that in mind, right? So I'll be interested, I'll be open to the swing trade idea long if it manages to stay inside this range, or maybe it gives us some kind of bullish signal over the next week. But be very careful with something like that, okay? So you have to look beyond just these, like a daily chart. It really helps to look at that weekly chart and see where you are in the bigger picture. But beyond the chart, right? Don't just take for granted what you see on the chart. You have to consider the environment, and you cannot lose sight of that. All right. Don't listen to these clowns that just keep, QNT is going to be the next Bitcoin. It's going to go to 10,000. Trust me, you'll see. I know something. Please don't listen to that. Okay. Let me see what people are saying here. I still think to grow in this market, one has to sell a positive vision. Well, Kai, yeah, a positive vision. You mean an optimistic view, right? If that's what you mean, yeah. It's true. To be a fake guru, or to be like someone that's trying to teach or whatever, you have to wrap everything in optimism. Otherwise, people are not encouraged to buy your products. But you know what? I just, it's not in me to mislead. And let me tell you why, real quick. I was in your position for a very long time. Okay. And I was misled. I was lied to. I believed in that optimistic nonsense. That's not true. And I'm like, man, if I can ever figure this out or whatever, or just get some sort of stability or some sort of consistency, I would never tell people these lies or this false optimism that just leads them on and wastes their time and money for years. I wasted a lot of time and a lot of money for years because I believed in this nonsense, false optimism that's baked into everything. Just Google how to start investing, just see the garbage that comes up. It's unbelievable. The optimism that's baked into it, it's all fake. Okay. This game, to make money in this game, is extremely hard, especially on smaller time frames. Say, okay, well, I'll be an investor. Okay, but you open up yourself to a larger magnitude of risk. You need to focus on how to manage that risk. Investors, it's true, investors can make more money or more stable money than a trader, because investors make no decisions. They get in and they just hold, right? Either the market works out for them, or they benefit in good markets and they just take pain in bad markets, right? That's what the investor goes through. But you can still manage risk and minimize that pain as an investor, right? Because you're always in the market as an investor, which is a very large form of risk. People make the mistake and they just pile in. Oh, I'm going to put in $50,000 because I can. And they watch their $50,000 melt away. All right. And then they bang it out at the worst price because they can't take it anymore. All right. That's human nature. Anyway, so the support hasn't been taken out yet. This could be a consolidation. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but Bitcoin. Okay. Oh, look, we got a spammer. SexFine Pro. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Don't be spamming. I got 12 people here. You must be an amateur spammer because I only have 12 people here. And not too many people watch my streams. Go find a fake guru that has thousands of people watching them. More people will click on your link. I guarantee no one's going to click on your link here. So please, amateur spammer, go somewhere else. All right. I don't think I can kick this guy out of here. Okay. Still short on, you're short on QNT. Okay. Well, just keep in mind, you're on the right side of this momentum, but this thing can turn. All right. The trend is still generally bullish. So you have a counter trend trade. Don't look for too much money. Don't let greed step in, because if this thing generates a buy signal, I mean, that's what you're fighting. Okay. Now, granted, the environment is on your side. So keep that in mind. You can give it that chance, but as long as this thing holds those supports, this thing can turn in your face. It's possible it can test highs. Just keep that in mind. Yes, there's a lot of conflicting information there. That's all I can tell you about that. Okay. Yeah, porn spammers. I haven't seen them in a while. This is a guy, like I said, this guy must be a new guy. He must be new to spamming because he's spamming my stream. Only new guys spam my stream. I would be interested when the price action will be around 136. Okay. I hope they at least click the like button. Yeah, probably the spammer hasn't. You know, they don't, they just show up and think they're going to get clicks from my stream. What's wrong with these people? Anyway, hey, Sean, good to see you. Socks. All right, so here, let's move along here. So Sean, I'll try to get to that if I can. I spent too much time talking. Let's get into, like it's after 10 o'clock. This is QNT, so we talked about that. Let's talk about, I talked about the bonds. Let's take a look at the S&P, all right? So let's go to SPX, USD, all right? Actually, I'll spend like a minute on this, and then I'll jump over to the Nasdaq because we'll take a look at the Nasdaq on 2 time frames. Look at this. So the nonsense on Friday, I believe the nonsense on Friday was a result of the Fed governor speak, right? One of the Fed governors came out and said something like that they need to cool off on the aggressive interest rate nonsense. Now that's that's just an emotional reaction out of the market. That wasn't Chairman Powell speaking. Understand something about the Federal Reserve and the Fed governors. They know that what they say moves markets. So don't you think it's possible? Now, I'm not saying I know what goes on in the Federal Reserve because I do not know, but don't you think it's possible that maybe they get together and said, hey, we're going to have some more negative news coming out, right? We're going to say some things the market's not going to like. Let's soften that a little bit and just say something a little more dovish to bring the market up a bit so that when it sells off, it doesn't sell off from its bottom. Do you think that the Fed is not aware of that? These people, do you think they're not aware of, how they affect the market? They know what they're doing. They know what they're saying, and they know how it's likely to affect the market. So maybe they're just softening up the market a bit before they lay into it more with some more negative news. Because if they come out with some really hawkish news at the market low, it can cause a very dramatic move, right? And they don't want an unstable market. They have a lot of rich hedge fund friends who are going to complain to them. What are you guys doing? Come on, man, you guys are messing me up over here, right? They have to help each other out. Again, I'm speaking conspiracy theories here, but the point is that information, if that's true, and that's why the market rallied. You cannot get sucked into that. That is my point. Take it as a grain of salt. Focus on the price action. So what does the price action say? S&P went straight up to the resistance. Look where it is now. S&P has now been open for what, almost an hour, right? 40 minutes or whatever. And we're seeing the bearish pin bar develop. Now, it doesn't mean it will close this way, but it can, right? If it takes out the low, if this candle closes this way today and tomorrow, we take out this low, this thing is generating a sell signal off of a double top resistance within a broader bearish trend. That's all bearish. There's nothing bullish about this. So any fool that's investing now, oh, I got the market bottom. I got the bottom of the Santa rally because I'm cool. You just bought the top of this move. Okay, highly risky, very highly risky. This thing can test these lows over the next few days, possibly next week. So yeah, you can argue there's a higher low over here. You can argue, but a higher low is not enough if it does not lead to a higher high, first of all. Second of all, even if we do see the higher high, if that higher high happens to be in this area and then it fails, that's nothing but a failed high. So the higher high doesn't really count in that situation. Markets are not perfect. They can be messy. If it wants to be messy and work its way up there and then turn. So my point is, this is a bad place to be buying. It's a bad place to be buying stocks. Okay. If you're buying stocks for the longer term, you should be buying very small because there are better prices on the horizon, and there's a good chance, right? Probability of the structure favors a test of that area, or at least some kind of pullback, okay? And like I said before in my article, if S&P pulls back, watch out on Bitcoin. And I have that short signal out there, all right? So that's the S&P. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. And that Nasdaq is going to be the same story on the bigger picture. In fact, the Nasdaq is a little bit more exaggerated, right? Look at that. It's a little weaker. This is a complete failed high right there if this closes like this. So again, don't get sucked in. I remember looking at this thing on Friday and it just kept going higher and higher, and it closed on its highs. There were like no pullbacks. I'm like, this is complete nonsense. When you see that, and it's just straight up that way, especially in a generally bearish market environment, you know that they squeezed out some shorts, and the shorts we got squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. Okay, but it's not likely to continue. That's what you have to consider. If you're not long from the bottom of something like that, you have to look at it as the higher it goes, the riskier it gets. Let's look at the Nasdaq on a 30-minute chart, all right? Because the story is the same on the daily chart. I don't have to repeat myself on it. And I'm way over my time here. Look, and people are leaving. I got less and less people on these streams. You know, I see some fake gurus out there with like 3,000 people watching them during the stream. I can't even get 100 people to watch me. All right. So, I mean, that goes to show about marketing skills, right? Anyway, so here's the NASDAQ on the 30-minute chart. Look what's going on here. So we have this is Friday, this bullish structure right here, right? And everyone's going to be, oh, the bullish structure is still in play. Does this not look like the intraday Bitcoin chart that we looked at? Does this not look just like it, right? Same situation with the higher low and then failure. Do we not see that? Do we not see that correlation? I hope you see it. All right. And people say, oh, Bitcoin is not correlated. Yes, it is. So you can use the NASDAQ and S&P to basically guide your Bitcoin ideas. Anyway, look at this. So market's been open here for now, 45 minutes. And this is what we get on the opening range, right? Testing the support. So this can turn into a buy signal if this support holds. You have an old resistance back here. Look at this. Look where it is. Okay. So that's an area of interest intraday. So if you're a day trader, if you trade the NASDAQ or if you trade NASDAQ heavy stocks, you know, like the mainstream stocks, tech stocks, this is an area to be looking for longs. But the candle right now, this candle still has 15 minutes before it closes, and there's no long signal here. So don't step in front of this. All right. What you need to see is an inside bar develop. You need to see some sort of reversal develop in this area. If this thing just continues lower or the next candle opens, it fools around and then takes out the low, you're looking at selling. You're not looking at buying stuff. Okay. Now, taking a continuation short on something like this can be very hard to do because squeezes can come out of nowhere, especially intraday. It's very hard getting stuck in something like this. It can happen. Okay. So you have to be very quick to get out of stuff like that if your short is not following through. These markets are notorious for something like that. Now, keep in mind, as this thing works its way lower, you're going to have all these old resistances, right, in these areas here where price is likely to react. So keep that in mind. React doesn't mean reverse. You just may see like a little reaction. It pops up a bit and then it fails if the trend is going to stay intact. The intraday trend. Right now, look, we're taking out this low. Something that's strong should not take out lows off of this lower high. So this momentum is clearly changing. Look for a continuation pattern for shorts on smaller time frames, okay? And you're targeting this area over here, which is what? The 11,000 area, right? So that's 200 points away. The NASDAQ can easily do 150, 200 points intraday. It can do that, okay? So keep that in mind. This affects your stocks. If you're in mainstream stocks. Now, if you're in, you know, not all stocks follow the market. You have pharmaceuticals and all these other ones that depend on other information. They do their own thing. That's a day trader game. All right. That's another story. They're not going to be as affected by this. But if you follow your mainstream tech, AMD, Apple, Google, all those other nonsense stocks, right, that people like, if you're day trading, if you day trade those, keep that in mind. You're watching the NASDAQ. Okay. Anyway, so Sean, SOX, I mean, that's the semiconductor index. Everything I just described in the NASDAQ, that's going to be the SOX as well, okay? Let me just move along here. So I have to wrap this up here in a minute. All Chinese stocks, there has to be some kind of, okay, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the story is with China, but perhaps, yes, there's some kind of news reaction. I never pay attention to news. Can you take a look at oil? Okay, let me just jump through these comments here. To me, this Friday pump came from technicals. Okay, Wall Street Journal article, intervention. Okay, well, you know, Wall Street Journal article. I mean, it's going to move the whole market. Could be, but I believe that was whatever on. I mean, I was looking around just to see like what's everyone pointing their finger at with that nonsense move, and I saw some stuff about Fed governors, you know, leaning more dovish than usual. I saw something like that. I'm all right, you know. Anyway, You got to feed them hype to get thousands. Well, Sean, yes, talking about, getting a following and this and that. Sure. But as you know, I'm hype free. So I'm kind of in a conflicted situation, right? I want to help people, but no one wants to hear what I have to say because it's not sexy. Okay. The people that appreciate me, most of you here, the people that appreciate me are people that have tried to play this game, figured out that they're not making any money. Maybe they got hammered here and there. And then they realize that they're able to appreciate the reality because they recognize that this game is, you're not likely to make any money in this game. So then reality sinks in. And you're like, I need to learn reality, right? And then that's when you start to become more in line with the professional mindset. What I mean by that is you're starting to escape the herd mentality, right? You're getting away from it, right? When we all start out, we start out in the herd mentality. And that's your biggest obstacle. Most people don't realize that. They don't want to hear about that. They are part of the herd. If you believe that there are communities of people out there that are like you and they're going to help you and blah, 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 you have been fooled, my friend, because this business, especially when you have communities of people, there is no strength in numbers. That group is your enemy, okay? And you're going to react like they react, and you're going to be fleeced by professional traders. You're going to be fleeced by the industry. If you notice, a lot of these brokers and stuff, they come, we have a community. Analysts are going to help you, blah, 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 right? All that nonsense. They want you to trade because when you trade, you generate fees. And when you generate fees, you are being fleeced. The industry is here to fleece you. You are all like sheep. And I was part of that as well. I am not like that anymore because I've separated myself from the herd. Okay, and I've isolated myself and I recognize price for price and I trust price. I don't trust people. I don't care how much of an expert you are. I don't care what you say because I know that markets are random and no one knows anything unless you're an insider. If Elon Musk called me up and he gave me some inside information personally, I would believe him. Unless he was tricking me, he could trick me too. But the thing is, if he told me that he was going to do something and not to tell anyone else, then at that point, I would have inside information and I would know more than the market. But until then, or if Chairman Powell called me up and he gave me some information, I would also be then an insider. Or if a senator called me up and gave me some inside information, I would now know more than the market. But I don't have those connections. No one tells me anything, so I know nothing. Okay, and I have to basically go by the price because the price knows everything. Okay, understand that? All right, my rant for today. Okay, let me go back here. Remarkable that this historic event in China has unnoticed. Okay, what historic event? Chinese stocks because of what happened. Oh, okay, unchallenged. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Kai, that's interesting. I had no idea that was going on in China. Thanks for sharing that. A lot of news is hidden from us here, right, in the U.S. Even though we like to think that we're watching fair and balanced news, a lot of stuff is hidden from us, as many of us may not know. Okay, we don't like fake gurus. All right, each one of your loyal following is worth 100. Well, Bill, that's true. But not monetarily, okay? Because you guys aren't paying me thousands of dollars to do this. So anyway, I mean, my time is worth a lot. I could be in the market right now. There's other things I could be doing right now, but I spend time here. I want to help people. I want to educate people, and I get paid less than minimum wage to do this. Just so you know, okay? I watch these fake gurus too, and I noticed they sell entertainment. Yes, entertainment and hope. Well, Kai's got it, but Kai's been a long time student. Kai, you have a good grasp of things. I've seen your work too. You have a good grasp. And I'm mostly trying to address people that are brand new and that are being sucked into this lie, because this whole industry, I mean, like you've heard me say this before, this industry is the most deceptive industry in the world. I can understand if you're selling shoes. I can understand if you're selling perfume and you want to sell hope and you want to sell, oh, my perfume is the best perfume. All the girls are going to love you if you wear this or whatever, right? These are the best shoes. Okay, I get it. People buy the shoe. But in this game, you're buying financial ideas for leveraged products and the loss can compound. So that's the problem with when there's no accountability. You know, you're buying a shoe, you put the shoe on and the shoe wears out. Okay, well, you bought the shoe, you wore the shoe. But in this game, you buy some idea, you invest $1,000, the $1,000 evaporates. Okay, and there's no accountability. That's the problem with this game and all this hope and nonsense that people are capitalizing on. They're capitalizing on your attention, right? And just you watch their whole video, YouTube rewards them. Okay. Anyway, quality followers over quantity. Yes. I mean, I agree with that. Sure. Remarkable. Okay. So, okay. Could you take a look at gold? Yes. I have to jump. I have to move along. I'm going to be on here in an hour. I'm supposed to be on here only 30 minutes. All right. So I can't get into all these. Okay. I see people asking me questions. People that are asking me questions. I will be back on at 3 o'clock today. So come back and ask me then. And that's usually when I take questions, okay, when I'm doing the Trading View one. So ask me then, all right? But I am going to go over gold because that's one of the main markets I usually go over. But Tilray, come back, ask me about that one, okay? If you are consistent with streams, followers will eventually appreciate. Well, see, YouTube, the YouTube algorithm has to actually promote. They're not going to promote my streams. I actually have to make videos, okay? And then they're likely to promote those if the videos do well. I know how the YouTube algorithm works. I've watched a lot of videos about it, or at least in theory, how it's supposed to work. I believe that worked as a catalyst. It was hopium that the bulls wanted to hear. Okay, all right. The casino always wins, so we play safe. Okay, all right. Well, hopefully, and that's why I'm trying to do this every day to expose, you know, more of what I do, and hopefully people will get the message and start to protect themselves better. Zai on air removed his predecessor sitting next to him. Astonishing moment. All counterfaces were purged from. It's interesting. You know, Chinese politics, very interesting because, you know, I mean, that's also various changes to the Constitution. Wow. Okay. Kai, are you located? Are you in China, Kai? Where are you located exactly? I should know that, but I forget. We'll just go back to at least before. Okay. Wait. Could it be that we'll just go back to prices because of the money printing? Okay, wait, money printing. There's no money printing. Okay, here, let me go over gold real quick, and then I also, you know what, I want to point out the pound. There's no money printing, Han. Who's printing money? The U.S. is the federal, is the dollar is the reserve world currency, right? The Federal Reserve is raising rates. That has the opposite effect of printing. So I don't know where you're getting printing from, or you know, quantitative what? I mean, they're tightening, they're not easing. So by taking money out of the market, right? Yeah, they're going to put more bearish pressure on the market, but we can't say is if it's going to go back to those lows. There's no way to know, right? Everything changes. So you can't go back and say, well, here's where we started out before all that inflation, blah, blah, blah. We'll probably go back there. You can't say that because things can change. A new piece of information come out. The Fed may become dovish sooner than expected. There's no way to know, okay? But right now, they're not. I never said where I'm located. I am not in China, but Europe. Oh, okay. I follow China closely. Oh, okay, cool, Kai. Thanks. Yeah, you don't have to tell us where you're located. But you're in Europe. All right, cool. So let's take a look at gold here. Now, I warned about gold, right? Gold had this dramatic move. Keep in mind, this is the inverse of the dollar, okay? I skipped the dollar. Let me just do the dollar very quickly, all right? Because you should know this. Look at the dollar. So this was Friday on the dollar, right? The reaction on Friday. And the dollar got hammered. So everyone, oh, the dollar's bearish. Dollar's not bearish. Higher low, okay? Higher low. This is a failed low developing right now. If this stays intact and this thing rallies, which it's poised to do, and this trend is still intact, everyone got fooled, okay? So if dollar makes higher high, everything against dollar is going to start pushing lows. S&P, Bitcoin is likely to, Forex pairs, get it? So keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, let's jump over to gold, okay? I start getting into these rants. I talk here all day. Gold, look at this situation. So buy signal developed, but right away it's turning. This is conflicting signal, all right? Now, why is this important? Why would I be more vocal about this than the conflicting signals in the trades that I called? Am I biased? Well, I'm looking at the bigger picture structure. All right. So conflicting signal on the, against this minor movement is not conflicting when you look at the bigger picture. Lower highs all over the place. You're fighting a strong dollar. So it's not really a conflicting signal. It's only conflicting against this bullish reversal. Okay. So conflicting means just relative, it's a relative word. This is with the trend, the bigger picture trend. So it's conflicting this counter trend move, which is in line with the bigger picture trend. Now, the candle has not closed, all right? It's still open, but we saw where that dollar's going. If this closes like this, you're looking at a new sell signal. Now, so if you're long gold, like for like a short-term move, like if you're long the CFD, you're in a very risky position. If you're buying gold for the long term, you should be buying stocks, okay, like Newmont Mining and small shares, because gold can go lower. It's poised to go lower, right? Especially if the dollar makes the new high. The sell signal is developing as we speak. If, like I said, this closes like this, takes out the low, you will have a new sell signal. Now, what makes that sell signal risky? Well, you're selling into this double bottom support, okay? So you may see another reaction. If you take a sell signal, you're going to have to be very aware of what can go wrong, all right? Either take a smaller position, or if another conflict develops, get out, because you don't want to get caught in a squeeze that looks like this. You don't want to get caught in that. It's dramatic. It will cause a margin call for you if you're too big, and it's very irrational and senseless, okay? You don't want to get caught in that. So, but if that dollar rallies, the general trend and the probability favors the lower low. That's gold. All right, now, so before I wrap this up, oh man, I'm going to be at this an hour. Before I wrap this up, pound. Let's talk about this, because I called the trade in this and I am short this, okay? So this, I called the short, right? And when I called that short the next day, this thing was up 100 pips, right? I talked about this on Friday. And when I was doing the stream on Friday, it was like only up like maybe 40 pips at that point. Would you believe this thing went from 100 pips in my favor to almost stopping out? Okay, what's the high here? 1407. Is that right? Let me see here. 14072. Oh wait, this thing has stopped out. Is this right? Yeah, and we're right now at 1294. So I haven't checked my account. This is probably stop. My stop was at 1405. Okay. Man, you mean to tell me they stopped me out and this thing is 100 points in my favor now? 100. It's back to basically 100 points against me. I have to check that, but technically this stopped out. All right. That's the stop was at 1405. 1407. What, bro? This is FXCM. I got to check. I don't use FXCM, so I have to check to see if my broker stopped out. Sometimes these forex prices are, they're not all exactly the same. So FXCM is showing 1407. My broker may be showing 1403 or 1404. If that's the case, I'll still be in the trade. I have to check, but let's just assume I'm stopped out. Okay. So the point is this. I was going to say that this thing has not reached my stop, but almost. But if you're still in this, you may still be in it. There's no reason to get out of this. Okay. If I'm stopped out, I'm going to have to look to get back in. We had the bullish pin bar. Okay. You could have gotten out at that, what the high was taken out yesterday. Where'd this thing open up at yesterday? 1389. Is that the open? I mean, that's a almost, you might as well have been stopped out, right? So if you got out there, you got away from this movement here, this fake out, if you want to call it that. But you have to be looking to get back in, because it failed right at this resistance. My stop, obviously a 200 pip stop, it was too tight, but that was a very dramatic move. That's the pound. So what do? Right? Let this thing close, takes out the low, can generate a new signal. That's all. That's what you have to do. You have to get back in. If that dollar rallies, this thing is going to get hammered. All right. My original target on this thing was 108. So that's why I was not so quick to take those 100 pips, because I was risking 200 pips. If I'm risking 200 pips and I'm only up 100, I should at least try to give the trade a chance. Okay. Looking back, oh, you could have broken even, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's a lot of things we could have done, but you have to give these things room to breathe if depending on the type of trade it is. This is a swing trade. So, I was expecting to hold this thing for a few days, not get out in one day, right? I mean, I could have been like more aggressive on going to break even on that dramatic reversal, but I'm not quick to react in those situations, especially if I'm on the side of the bigger picture. I try to give things a chance, right? And the bigger picture on the pound is not bullish, although it's trying to be. You got some higher lows in here, but we have yet to compromise any significant resistance levels. And we have a dollar that's super strong. Okay. So anyway, you guys, all right. So I'm going to leave you with that. You guys follow me on that? Is anyone short the pound? I know you don't mind me doing an hour, but I do. I have a lot of other things to do. These things are only supposed to be a half hour. Okay. Wow. That's interesting, Bill. That's interesting. That's very interesting about China. Anyway, so that can certainly shape political situations, in the future. All right. A lot of drama there. Anyway, all right. So you guys have any quick questions? Well, I saw some questions about stocks. I'm not going to answer those right now. Come back to my stream at 3:00 when I do TradingView and YouTube again. I'll be on here again. All right. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Look at Bitcoin. Yeah. So I'm going to be looking to get back into that pound. I have to check to see if I was stopped out officially. I thought I was still in that trade, but it may be because of the pricing of my broker. I have to check. But otherwise, I will be looking to put out another trade on the pound, another short. And Bitcoin, there was never a threat there to begin with, right? And now look at it now. Back to 19.2, working its way lower. No surprise. All right, so we'll see where these things are in the afternoon when I do my next stream. All right, you guys. So again, hey, thank you all for spending this hour with me. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you're learning to protect yourself and that you're taking my rants, you're listening to what I'm saying, because I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm not saying that to be entertaining. I'm saying that to help you to help you protect yourself. Okay, because I can't protect you from you. I can't protect you from the herd mentality. I can make you aware of it, but you have to protect yourself. Okay. All right, you guys. Hey, again, thank you. So check out the links in the descriptive portion of a video here if you're interested in any of that stuff. And I'll see you guys at 3:00. All right. So wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, and thank you very much for watching.